Hey everyone, today we're solving problem number 8 from chapter 9 of the textbook, which asks us to define what barriers of entry are, what barriers to entry are, and then give some examples of barriers to entry. So in your textbook, they give you the situation that because of lack of competition, monopolies, which are companies that control all of one output, tend to earn significant profits. Pretty obvious statement. These profits should attract vigorous competition, and yet because of one particular characteristic, they do not. So, and that characteristic is going to be barriers to entry. And barriers to entry are legal, technological, or market forces that discourage or prevent potential competitors from entering into a market. So I'm literally going to write that. Legal, technological, which I will simply abbreviate with tech, or market forces. Because in an idealistic world, actually not in an idealistic world, but in reality, you would think that monopolies would have competitors, like Facebook has a competitor with Instagram. But in a lot of cases, because of barriers to entry, monopolies are able to really dominate, as Facebook was for a long time before like an Instagram came along. Again, these are legal, technological, or market forces. So those are the three adjectives to describe the forces themselves, and they will discourage, which means just push away other competitors, or altogether prevent them from entering into that market. So social media is considered a market type. Discourage or prevent. As I'm writing this, hopefully you guys are starting to think of some examples. I know for legal, uh, patents are a common example, copyright laws. Um, for example, well, I'll get to the examples a little bit later. But essentially, what we're getting down to here is that barriers to entry actually help a company that's already broken into a new industry become a monopoly, because it prevents their potential competitors from even entering to that market after them. Brand name, brand recognition, that's a big thing too. Like if I recognize a certain brand like Chipotle more than Taco Bell or Pizza Hut or Potbelly sandwiches like in the Midwest, for instance, then I'm gonna go with the Chipotle, even though those are the other competitors. That's a force that could discourage the Taco Bell from entering into the market. On the flip side, Potbelly sandwiches, which is a sandwich chain in the Midwest, you know, it may be more popular than Subway sandwiches in the Midwest. So that may discourage Subway from opening up a lot of restaurants in the Midwest. Conversely, a lot of people know Subway is a brand name, and they know their jingle, like their motto, "Eat Fresh." So that could prevent Potbelly from being super successful in the Midwest because that national chain of Subway is so popular. I'm from the Midwest, guys. That's why I gave that example. All right, so there's your definition. And now we want to come up with some prime examples. So, as I mentioned before, patent or copyright laws, obviously, since they're laws that prohibit competitors from really being, strong in that market, it is a legal force. copyright. And I'll just give an example of that copyright. For instance, in the pharmaceutical, drugs market, so wherever you get your pharmaceuticals from a Walgreens or CVS, there are often legal patents on those um, drugs themselves. So I'll just write drugs. From pharmacy. I'm going to skip over the technological factors. I'm going to go straight to the market factors because that's pretty common. There are lots of different ways that a market, sorry, not factor, force. There's lots of ways that a market force can discourage or prevent potential competitors from entering or breaking through into a new market. So just to reiterate, drugs from a pharmacy is a great example of how there is a legal force because there are patent laws in place on pharmaceutical drugs. Sorry, I am spelling everything wrong today, guys. All right, and then we have market forces. So for the market force, um, actually, just to give you one more example of a copyright law, Disney, for example, has a copyright on the show Mickey Mouse. Thus, you know, Disney kind of owns that and controls it. And then in terms of market forces, brand association, or brand identity rather, kind of goes back to consumer preference. Which is one of the factors that actually influences, forget supply or demand, one or the other. I think it's supply in macroeconomics when you're drawing your supply graph. Brand identity as well as loyalty from customers. So the best example for what I'm talking about in this second example of barriers to entry in terms of brand identity and customer loyalty is soda type. A lot of us tend to prefer a Sprite over Diet Coke or Pepsi or root beer or 7 Up because we just like Sprite better. And we'll stick with that always. And you'll find yourself tending, like if you're in a store, you're going to buy Sprite more often if you've always loved Sprite more than anything else. That's your loyalty to the Sprite company in the market of soda cans. I'll just write sodas. So that obviously influences your choices and prevents, Coke from making another customer and making another sale and being more successful than Sprite. Just an example. So there you have it. If you guys enjoyed this video explanation, please hit the like button next to it. I hope you all have a nice day, and thank you for watching.